Brought to you by Agua Caliente Casinos. Play it safe and play confidently as we are ready to serve with the best in white glove service. Experience all Agua Caliente Casinos has to offer in a safe, clean environment that has set the industry standard. Agua Caliente Casinos, a heart for safety and the award to prove it. Palm Springs, Rancho Mirage, and Cathedral City.
Final week of the NFL's regular season in Week 18 brought lots of surprises and lots of things to talk about. We're so glad you're here with us in our Fox 11 studios. Thanks for joining us, everybody. This is Sports Wrap. I'm Kyle Kraska. And joining me, as always, we've got our football aficionados. First of all, Rams quarterback Vince Ferragamo. Vince, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good, but Ram fans are not.
Yeah.
This has been a bad game.
That was a tough afternoon. All right, we got the Hall of Famer, Jackie Slater. How you doing today?
I'm hanging in there.
Yeah?
Hanging in there. It's about all to be said.
You in a bad mood now?
Well, I'm not in a bad mood. Just disappointed. You know,
All right,
I know
sure.
how badly people wanted to win this ball game, and then have it come down to the ending that we saw is disappointing.
Yeah, and surprising, no doubt about it. And we've got our lockdown corner out on Pitts Island. It's Ron Pitts. Ron, how you doing?
Oh, I'm hanging in here, boy. They got that San Francisco 49er mojo still rolling on them.
Unbelievable.
Man.
Unbelievable indeed. All right, let's talk about what's on tap for tonight's show. We're going to be breaking down the Rams and 49ers season finale today. We're going to look at the playoff picture in both the NFC and the AFC. And the guys are going to be making their Super Bowl predictions as well as who they think should win the league MVP this year. But let's get right to it. We're going to kick things off, of course, with the game of the day right here, SoFi Stadium. Sean McVay and the LA Rams looking for, unbelievably, their first win in the last 6 games against his friend Kyle Shanahan and the San Francisco 49ers. That's right, San Francisco had won 5 consecutive games over the Rams and needed either a victory today or a Saints loss in order to make the playoffs. Let's take a look at what happened. Perhaps you watched it right here on Fox earlier today. San Francisco winning this football game in overtime, 27-24. This after the Rams jumped out to a 17-0 lead. In fact, guys, on the first 3 possessions of the day for the Rams, they scored 17 points, and they managed only 7 points over their next 8 possessions.
Unbelievable.
What in the world? As Jackie likes to say. Here's a look at Matthew Stafford's stats today. 21 of 32, 238 yards. He had 3 touchdowns, but he had 2 interceptions. You see the quarterback rating of 93. And I want to begin here because we've been complaining, if you will, for a while about Matthew Stafford and his inconsistency. But the inconsistency was that he slowly started football games and he finished strong. 15 interceptions over the course of the season, 12 of them were in the first half. And yet today, Vince, it was exactly the opposite. He started this game hot and did not finish so much.
You know, in the last quarter of the game or the last 2 minutes, you have to have ice water in your veins. He didn't show that today. And I think this was a game of 2 halves. He had a 148 quarterback rating in the first half, was on fire, 15 to 16 passes, had 2 touchdowns. Second half, what happened? I think this is a story of the 49er defense on their pass rush. They controlled the game the second half, and they turned the whole game around for the 49ers.
Yeah, we were just talking about it last week. In fact, when I spoke with Sean McVay last week, I asked him exactly that. Are you concerned about the fact that Matthew Stafford seems to take a little while to get things going? Remember, we talked about that laser focus, didn't we, Jackie?
Sure.
Last week we talked about laser focus.
Certainly
And
did.
yet he seemed to have that, came out gangbusters today. Completed his first 7 passes in the first quarter. He was 10 of 10 at one point in the second quarter, 24 consecutive passes dating back to fourth quarter of last week. And yet all of a sudden, it just kind of fell apart. 2 interceptions in the second half. What happened today, Jackie?
Well, Matthew Stafford came out, and I thought he gave us a gallant effort in spite of the statistics. But this is one thing that I have grown to realize in my association with this great game, certainly professionally since 1976. If you let your quarterback get hit in the lips as many times as he was hit in the lips today, you can expect any and every kind of bad thing to happen. He was sacked 5 times. That's the second time this year he was sacked 5 times. He got sacked 5 times against Tennessee. That's not the worst part about it. The worst part about it, he's got hit 13 times. 13 times is way too many times for any quarterback to be getting hit. And, you know, the thing that I've always looked at when these situations come up, you're throwing the football, is how much are you supporting him with the run game? Well, the reps at running the football are critical, and they came out and they did a good job. They served up like 27 reps or something like that. They ran the ball, so they ran the ball. They just didn't have the production at it, and when they threw the ball, the protection broke down here, technical issues all over the place by individuals that were suffering, and it caused this problem. I just felt badly for the quarterback. I think Matthew Stafford is a guy that you can win with. And in fact, I'm not done with Matthew Stafford this year, and I don't think any of us should be. Mm-hmm. In fact, we're in the playoffs now. It's a whole different season. It's a new world now. And I think he's going to be just fine. But it's going to start with two things. Number one, the Rams are going to have to, Sean McVay is going to have to consistently serve up the rushing attack like he did today. But the difference is going to have to be the variety in which he do it. You can't give these great big run stuffers at the line of scrimmage an opportunity to play the exact same block over and over and over. Eventually they're going to say, hey, here it comes. All they got to do is dip this shoulder, stick this leg in the ground. And then that run is stopped. You got to make them play a variety of different type of running schemes. And I think that as he and his offensive coordinator, Carberry, come to grips with this fact, give these guys, they're athletic guys, give them an opportunity to do more things in the running game. And as they do that, we're going to see a whole lot more production. And I think that's going to be critical and the key for their success from this point on, the variety in the running game.
What was alarming to me, especially on the eve of the postseason, which begins next week at home against the Cardinals, was the fact that this team had a 17-0 lead. And under Sean McVay, this team has been so very good at protecting leads. Let's not forget, he has the NFL record, 45 games when leading at halftime.
This was
the
first
game, and they led at halftime
That's
today.
right.
And they lost, so he is now 45-1. I want to get Ron Pitts involved. Ron, what are you most concerned about after watching this game today?
Well, if you didn't know much about this rivalry, let's say you're watching it for the first time, well, you know one thing, that the 49ers have been able to make this 6 straight because they're very physical in the run game. I was amazed at how they punched the Rams in the mouth, like Jackie talks about getting hit in the lips. But the way the 49er running backs, talk about 135 total yards rushing for their offense, the way they got yards after contact, the second, third effort, it's like they came into this game and said, guys, here's our blueprint. Here's why we've beaten them 5 straight times. This is what we're going to do. And that's not the Rams' wheelhouse. That's not where they play. They want to play 7-on-7 football, and we get that. That's why you got Von Miller over here. That's why you got Aaron Donald there with the great pass rush moves and a couple other guys. They turned the game around them, and that was the key. San Francisco, 314 passing yards. They were able to do what they want off of the pass. The good news for the Rams is, hey, they won the NFC West. I mentioned that a couple weeks ago. They're going to win the division. But my goodness, I'm glad they don't have to play the 49ers again because they've got something on them. So now the book is out for the Rams. It's clear what they have to do. Number one, they've got to finish games. I think McVay has talked about that before, and that still continues. Number two, some things that the quarterback's got to clean up. Just to go there, the final play or the final series, I'm thinking Cooper Kupp is going to get the football, right? He's 18 yards away from a Triple Crown record. He doesn't get the football. Looked like Odell Beckham was involved in it. He beats his man on that final play on the interception. The ball is underthrown. Yeah. That's got to be addressed soon.
Yeah, a couple of quick points there. The fact you mentioned the rushing attack, 135 yards rushing today by San Francisco. Do you remember what they had at halftime today? Remember, Jackie, you asked me 10.
Hardly any.
I mean, everything
happened in the second half.
It was all the second half.
So
So Ron talks about the fact of finishing games, and that's something that's been a hallmark of Sean McVay's teams, and that was not the case today. And again, as we now approach the postseason, that cannot